Good evening from London. Sorry, not from London, from Swansea, wrestling fans. I've gone back a year apparently when I was living in London. But good evening from Swansea, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight news, and reviews on a daily basis. And today it's a Sunday, and you know what that means. It means it's Sunday Fun Day, and indeed we do have a very fun show planned. We are going to be trying to predict the WrestleMania 41 card. Of course, we're pretty much 2 months out from the event, so it's going to be quite the challenge. Now, over the last about month or so on the Wrestling Republic YouTube channel, every other week I've been predicting the WrestleMania card and been updating it every time. And every single time, people tell me how wrong I am. And in quite a few cases, I already have been wrong, but in other cases, I am standing by my predictions. But today, we're getting two of the people who massively criticized my card to give theirs. Let's kick things off with the head of reviewing here at Wrestling Republic. How are you feeling today, Coby, and how confident are you about your predictions?
I mean, I'm pretty confident, of course. I got a lot of the things written down, and I mean, I got my book going pretty happy here, and I got my chicken scratch because nobody has to read my writing in this case, but I mean, I get to air my grievances because we asked Ben before the show, yeah, you're doing it with us, right? And he goes, no, because I'm doing a video. I'm already doing this out of spite now because you are screwing us. It should have been us three doing it.
I've done it twice, and I'm doing it a third time later this week because The Rock decided to turn up and just mess everything up. But I'll give you a spoiler right now, Coby, if you want me to give one of my predictions. I think it's not going to be Cody versus Cena. There we are. I'm standing by that one. But also joining us today... Also joining us today, we have Soul. How are you feeling, Soul? And are you feeling confident?
I don't know the word confidence, honestly. I look at this and I just think, yeah, this is all going to get flipped in like 2 minutes. I mean, you can see my place is an absolute state. I've literally not even bothered getting dressed or anything like that, just looking at this and thinking, how does Triple H do it? There's so many things you want to get on. There's so many things you want to appeal to the masses. So many things you want to appeal to the hardcores. Like, yeah, it's tough, and I've done it like 8 times. I made 8 variations of this, and I'm just going with this one, which will probably just be replaced by next week. But you know what? Screw it. I'll give it a shot.
Absolutely. And yeah, you do kind of get, a sense of respect for Triple H and, the amount of work he has to do when stuff like this, you've got to do stuff like this because it is hard to fit it all on the card. Now, the way we are going to do it is the exact same rules I've been doing for my videos, 7 matches per night, as that's probably the safest guess of how many matches there will be. Wow. Night 1 and then night 2. Pardon?
He's always gone 7 and 6. Technically,
well,
aside from the
surely this year he's got
aside from the Shane
more things,
which I'm not
that any more than I've already had. It's not going to be a good steak.
I think this year they're going to have to do 7 and 7, surely. I mean, this is a headache as it is. But the way we're going to do it is we're going to go match by match. We're going to start with Soul. I did a random name generator and Soul's came out first. So Soul's going to start us off. It doesn't really matter what order anyway, but we're going to do it that way. We have Fernando in the chat. Shout out to you, Fernando. Hopefully this video will be a lot of fun. And make sure you guys comment your thoughts on their cards as they read it. So without further ado, Soul, kick us off.
So kicking us off, it's a Consequences of the Chamber match. So for my night 1 opener, I have Rhea Ripley defending her WWE Women's World title against the winner of the Elimination Chamber, Roxanne Perez. Standard singles match. I think Roxanne will win it. I think Roxanne is somebody that not only Shawn Michaels, but I think Triple H is quite keen on. And also, it's a very fresh matchup. And as I view WrestleMania, it can be the starting of an ending of a story. And I think this will be a start of one of this young up-and-comer rookie from NXT who had such a dominating reign as NXT Women's Champion. A lot of people thought of her as Women's Wrestler of the Year last year. And I think it's going to be a fun match to kick off WrestleMania in Vegas.
That would be a banger, no doubt about it. Also, though, a big call. Roxanne Perez thrown onto the main roster. Hey, you're opening the biggest show in wrestling. Do you think she's ready for that?
I mean, there's only one way to say, and some people say,
That's true.
you sink or swim, but she has had a lot of time in NXT. She's done a lot, and she was quite a pillar for that brand until Julia's really taken it. I think it's also a testing point to see how Shawn Michaels and NXT produced these women's talent. Is it the same caliber of the Four Horsewomen back in the day? Can these people catch up to the big stars like Rhea Ripley? And, sink or swim, go for it, kid.
Absolutely, that is a good way of looking at it. Fernando says Rhea versus Bianca would be a better option. That would be another banger as well. But I don't mind talent actually being thrown in at the deep end. A lot of people hate it. I don't. So personally, I would love to see Roxanne Perez versus Rhea Ripley. But Coby, what's your night one opener?
I mean, I think just very briefly, because like you said, you like people being thrown in the deep end. I mean, at least you're giving them the opportunity to swim. And we saw a lot of that the last few years where they just don't get the opportunity to even swim. Like they'll get used a little. Yeah, you can go play in the kiddie pool, but not really swim at all. That's kind of what we've seen with some NXT call-ups, and but that is better than not trying to use them at all. To me, the one thing that stands out to me is we saw the teases in January with her looking at Rhea's belt. I do think Rhea opens WrestleMania night one again, and I think it's Rhea Ripley versus Bayley. I think we saw it a couple times in January, and I mean Bayley has to win the chamber. She's in the chamber, and I think this is the safer option because I think the other leading candidate for the chamber is Bianca Belair, but I think they're gonna go in the direction of a tag title defense at WrestleMania. I don't think she's walking into WrestleMania as a world champion contender while being the champion. So I have to go Rhea Ripley versus Bayley.
Fair enough. I mean, that is another great shout. Again, both of those are, to your point, Soul, start of stories, not end of stories. And like you said, Mania is always the start or an end of a story. Personally, I prefer it to be the end of one, especially for a world championship. So while I'd love to watch both of those matches, from a storyline perspective, I'm not sure how I would feel if that is what they go down, but I could see both of them.
The only end of a storyline is Liv.
That's the worst part, though. Like that, the booking should be better.
Well, that's the worst part. Like
it's poor. There's no good option really here, is there? I mean, the only option there would potentially be, which I don't think is going to happen, is if somebody gets taken out and Becky Lynch returns in the chamber, wins the chamber, and they run back Rhea and Becky again.
I swear
that is the story.
Everyone is saying we're going to have someone taken out of the chamber. If they were going to do it, they would have already started that build. I think that's my stance on that. If it was Rhea Becky too, we would have already seen Becky Lynch showing up.
My personal opinion on this, I actually think with Becky Lynch, is I don't think she's shown up yet because she doesn't want to take somebody's WrestleMania slot. I think her mentality is these ladies have been killing it all year while I've been away, so I reckon she wants to come back after WrestleMania, perhaps on the Raw after WrestleMania. I actually think that's why she's not returned already. Which, good on her if that's the case, and maybe somebody such as a Roxanne Perez can fill in that void and can get a golden opportunity because of it. Fernando has said Roxanne and Bayley have been telling a story. Absolutely. I mean, ironically, a triple threat match between those three would be fantastic, but how on earth would you get there? I really don't know. Hello to you, Bobby, as well. So you're up next.
Hypothetically, it'd be dumb. It'd be dumb, but you could do a double pin or
something. Coby, language. This is a kids show. You can't say that word. This is a kids friendly program. You can't say that word. That's so mean. No, dumb. How dare you say that? That's such a bad word. You're not
idiotic.
That's not PG.
Do you prefer idiotic?
Yes, it's very good. I like that word. It's very high degree. All right, let's get into it, boys. Right, match 2. So technically, you've had a big kickoff. You kind of want to keep the crowd at a good level, but not burn them out so quickly. So I have, in a singles match, 2 individuals that have been kind of telling a story. I think it would be very interesting. It's Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross, standard singles match. Out of the chamber, I think KO is going to fully beat down Sami Zayn. Cross will go to him and be like, you need to dig deep, Sami, and accept the brutality side. And this is basically going to be harking back to John Cena and Bray Wyatt, where, remember when Wyatt was like, the hit me with the chair thing? Zayn's going to be like, no, I'm not going to do it. Then gets distracted by Scarlett, and Cross takes the win. So I got that for the second match of WrestleMania.
A very solid choice indeed. And that is the first prediction today, which I agree with. I also think that after what we've seen in recent weeks, of course, Sami and Kevin happening at Chamber now, not WrestleMania. I think there'll be something else planned for Kevin Owens. Perhaps one of you guys will talk about that later. But Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross certainly seems like their direction. Coby, what about you? What is your next pick?
So that's the thing. The one that stands out to me is there's just a lot of people who need to be on the card, and there's a lot of dynamics. And I think about 2 months ago we would have said, yeah, they're probably going to do New Day and War Raiders at some point. I don't know if that's the choice right now. Right now, I kind of got a mixing of stories. There's a lot of dynamics on Raw in the non-title scene. I got Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee, Finn Balor, and Penta versus Chad Gable, The New Day, and Dominic Mysterio. I think Finn could possibly have a babyface turn before WrestleMania, and if he's working with people who have similar enemies in The New Day and Dom and Gable, I think this is kind of a mixing of stories, but this is also a way to get people on the card. This is in the sense just not filler, but it's get people on the card. We've been spending time building these dynamics and these interactions, and I think this is an easy way to do it, because at this point I don't know if we'll get another Ray Dom rematch. I don't know if Finn and Dom would be a standalone match. I think this kind of stands out as there's kind of three pictures that we can work with, and that is one way to put him on WrestleMania. I'm not too certain with this, but I feel like it works.
That is very, very random indeed, but who knows? I mean, stranger things have happened.
It works. Dominic's trying to work with Gable to work with to face Penta. Finn Balor would have to turn or do something to face him.
But why would Ray ever team with Finn after everything he did?
He didn't do that. Well,
he did. He turned his son on him.
Finn settled me out, and you're like, "Oh, we're cool."
That wasn't Finn. That was Rhea. Rhea's the reason Dominic turned.
Finn was involved though. Finn took credit at the time. Finn said it was his idea at the time.
Well, put it this way: we have 6 weeks to tell that.
Put it this way:
I'm not. Well, I guess I was saying 6 weeks, or no, 7 weeks post Chamber to tell that.
Yeah.
Well, there's a long enough time.
Perhaps. Bobby says a ladder match.
But
Bobby says a ladder match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship would be nice between Lyra Valkyria, Ivy Nile, Zoe Stark, Alba Fire, and Natalia. I'd love that. That would be a banger, and Fernando agrees with that as well. But Soul, what's your next pick?
So I was usually watching 39 back, and the match that I really enjoyed from that weekend was the three-way Intercontinental match between McIntyre, Gunther, and Sheamus. So I'm like, it worked before, let's do it again. So I have, for the Intercontinental Championship in a three-way match, Braun Breaker, the champion, versus Penta versus Ludwig Kaiser. Main reason, I'm going to have Kaiser get absolutely obliterated so he can't interfere in what will be my main event. Wink, wink. And I'm going to have Penta win the Intercontinental Championship as well. It allows Breaker to move into the main event. Penta, he's popular. His merch is selling. He's loved by the fans. So why not put a title on him and get that showcase?
Absolutely. Another match which I potentially could see happening there. I definitely think they're going to find a way to get Breaker on that card. I'm not sure about the US title, but Braun Breaker, they want him to be the next face of the company, so you need to showcase him at the Showcase of Immortals. Coby, what is your next pick?
Right now I have a similar sentiment, and it's the first repeat in the sense. I know we're kind of going down the direction of, I mean, we know there's no way, if we're thinking hypothetical, there's no way to go any further than an unsanctioned match. So I think there is another match for it, I do think it's Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. This is kind of the first repeat. We know they've been teasing this, and I think this is the first kind of like it's an early night one match that gets this dynamic on the card that has months of build. But I think they are going to put this on WrestleMania. So Sam Zayn and Karrion Kross.
Very good shout indeed. And once again, I do agree with that. What about you, Soul? What is your match 4 on day 1?
So match 4, kind of going to keep that high octane moment from the Freeway and Continental. So I have Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu in a tribal combat match. I think there's going to be a massive friction between Jacob and Solo, and this really is to see where JOD stand. Do they stand with Solo or do they stand with Fatu? And as well, I think Fatu is going to win this and be a very, very big, strong member for the company that he's in. He's going to really be a big, big star for them.
Absolutely. I would love it for Jacob Fatu to be pushed into that main event scene. It would be great. Sonny Marks is saying it's going to be 7 or 8 matches a night. 7 max, I say. I can't see Triple H doing an 8-match event, although the roster's easily big enough for that, but I don't think that's the path they'll go down. But Coby, what path do you think they'll go down for match 4 on night 1?
Okay, match 4 night 1. So we kind of had a couple. I'm not gonna call them filler matches, but I'm gonna call them kind of keep the pace going, keep the momentum in. Now we're gonna take things up a notch. Right now, I have a WWE Tag Team Championship ladder match. We got the DIY, we got the Machine Guns, the Motor City Machine Guns, Street Profits. Those are all the directions, and I am going to do Ben a solid. I am including Pretty Deadly. It's going to be a fatal. They are involved in this title picture at this point. I don't think they're removed from WrestleMania, and I could see it, but right now I would bet on them being involved in this tag title ladder match.
They have to be. And that's another match which I predicted early January, right? It was clear as soon as they started that feud on SmackDown. It was clear where it was going. And for that to be the blow-off match at WrestleMania, a ladder match, it would be a banger. Bobby Petito says, Pretty Deadly. Yes, boys. My boys. Absolutely. Sonny Marks says, Pretty Deadly will win. And Sonny Marks thinks that Los Garza should also be involved in it. Should be a 5-way. I don't really know how much they fit in the story.
To be fair, they like the one person, or I guess the 2 people that have benefited from the 3-hour SmackDown is literally Los Garza. That's true. Every time they have a match, they deliver, and they've arguably gotten more over than Machine Guns. But they look good, and I wouldn't be mad at them being included. But at this point, I think they're keeping Pretty Deadly in it. I'd sub Los Garza in for Pretty Deadly, but I'm betting on Pretty Deadly.
Right, let's stop this then. I don't want to hear any more of that nonsense, Coby. Soul, what's your match 5?
Match 5, I think at this point the crowd's going to be a bit tired out, so let's put them to a singles match to chill out and everything. I think it's going to be our Women's United States Champion, Chelsea Green. 2 ways you could do this. Either we know we saw Nick Aldis said that he has somebody in mind for her as an opponent or somebody to face her. Maybe at Elimination Chamber she'll come out and confront her. Maybe have to face Piper Niven to get the opportunity at Mania, or she just returns at WrestleMania here. I have
go home.
Shush. I have Chelsea Green versus Becky Lynch for the United States Women's Championship.
Wow. A big call. I did not. Yeah. Wow. So, why Chelsea Green instead of Lyra?
So, the main reason I feel is that obviously we know the Raw after WrestleMania is treated very highly. Recently with Triple H especially, a lot of big things happen there, and there's a lot of big... Also, it's including that whole weekend that a lot of people pay a lot of money for, so you want those shows as well to be stacked. So I think Lyra will be defending her title on Raw after WrestleMania, my personal opinion, just so you give the fans another reason to watch, because obviously you'll have the championship celebrations from the Raw side going on that, maybe even the SmackDown side, depending on how Night 2 goes down as well, in my personal opinion. But I think Lyra, there is so much. There's so many titles, there's so many wrestlers, you only have a certain amount of time. You can't get everybody on, and that's the realistic aspect of it. Is being on the SmackDown before WrestleMania and the Raw after just as important? To some, yes. To some, no. But I feel like you have to give the fans something as well to tune in, just not to the PLE, but the before and after of the greatest show ever.
Fair enough. What about you, Coby? What's your match number 5?
So match 5, and I mean, not a repeat, but I'm going to bring in someone, of course, that's already been said. I got the IC title being defended. I got Braun Breaker, and I got the guy that only makes sense. It's the man of the hour. He needs to get his championship. It's Braun Breaker versus the the Celtic Warrior, Sheamus, or Big Time Shamo, as I call him. Braun versus Shamo. It's the match that delivers every single time. We saw it on Raw. We saw it Saturday night's main event, and I mean they already set up a rematch from that show, so that we can do another one. Because Penta's in the other stuff. I put Penta in the other stuff. It has to be Braun and Sheamus for me right now.
Yeah, I do think that would be an absolute banger, as Sheamus would say himself.
And then and that's the thing, you can go either way with that one. Braun Breaker getting his first Mania win, or Sheamus finally winning it, unless that... I hope that's not the only story they try to tell with Sheamus, because he signed, I think, a 5-year deal last year. I hope it's not 5 years of he keeps failing to win the IC title. I don't.
Maybe he does it at 50 years old, eh? But WrestleMania UK says the women's IC title has to be on WrestleMania. They will kill that title's perception if it isn't on Mania. I agree, to be brutally honest, Joe. I do think they're going to need to find a way to get the women's singles titles on the WrestleMania card. But unfortunately, I only think one of them will be. Soul, what's your match number 6? You're muted. The curse of the mute button.
I didn't want the fizz to interrupt the... I agree with Mike's comments there. Obviously, it's sadly just, do you throw everything in a multi-man match, or do you just try and give something a singular one-on-one? It's tough to do, but that's the job of the booker. Now, look, I don't like this match. I'm putting this match on simply because I know he will be on it. He will draw eyes to the product. I have Logan Paul in a singles match against the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. Right? I don't like the match. I don't like it. But there is a story with it, the Royal Rumble, where Logan Paul cost AJ his opportunity, and I don't think he's doing it against Punk when he threw him out. So that's not happening. And also, as well, it would allow AJ to really cement himself back in the good guy role, and I think properly go on what I think will be his final run. So I think AJ is going to style clash Logan Paul right into the ring mat that will break the boards, in my personal opinion. I think that'll be entertaining to at least this dumb match I've booked. But yeah, it's going to be there. This is really the filler match of night 1 of WrestleMania 41. So yeah, I have AJ Styles versus Logan Paul.
Fair enough. I mean, I think it would be a fun match. And to your point, I don't really want to see Logan Paul there, but he's probably going to be there. But what about you, Coby?
I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing. Logan Paul wise, you know he's going to get booked, and that's the tough part. There's arguably more fodder to the idea that it's Punk, but I think Punk has other stuff. My semi-main event of night 1 is the real blood feud. It's going to be the man, the myth, the legend. And I sat here for months telling Ben there's no way, shape, or form that Randy Orton can return and go after Cody Rhodes. He ain't going for Cody Rhodes. Right now, the semi-main event of night 1 is going to be Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens in a no-holds-barred match. I think it's the match that has to happen. You have to put Randy Orton and Kevin against each other. It could be no holds barred. It could be last man standing. It could be anything, really. I think it needs a stipulation, and we know Triple H has been very relaxed and being like, yeah, we don't need to put stipulations on matches. Like we all probably thought Cody and Brock 3 deserved one. And we all there's so many where it's like, yeah, this is a singles match, but you could have went with a stipulation. This one needs a stipulation. Yes. In kayfabe, Randy Orton or Kevin Owens nearly ended Randy Orton's career again. You cannot have Randy Orton go after Cody Rhodes after that. Randy Orton has to come back for a vengeance. He has to come back for blood. He has to come back to beat the crap out of KO. And I think that's a high profile late match card late match in the night. Like I don't think it main event. It could main event if you wanted it to, but it would be in the second. I think it'd be a second half.
Yeah, definitely
So I think
either.
co-main works for Randy and Kevin.
It's either going to be in that match 2 slot or a match 6 slot. You know, it's going to be one of those, a match like that. But what about you, Sol?
It would not
Well,
be
my main event of night 1. So to go back earlier, I said Ludwig Kaiser was going to get knocked out and not be able to do anything for the rest of the night. And that's because I think night 1's main event will be Jey Uso going after Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, think about this, right? Jey Uso is main event Jey Uso, right? What's he main evented? A Saturday night main event? Cool. Good man. No, you want a main event of WrestleMania. And it really adds to that moniker as well. And as well, I've noticed with Triple H's booking for WrestleMania, he does a positive end and a band-aid over the 2 nights. So this is the good ending. Get ready for the second night, because that's where things are going to hit the fan. So to send the crowd home happy before the fall, it's going to be Jey Uso winning the World Heavyweight Championship and can finally call himself main event Jey Uso. Hooray!
That would be absolutely terrific. Coby, are you going to agree with that one?
As much as it makes sense, my gut tells me it doesn't main event. I think there's far other dynamics and people who have to main event of WrestleMania. And right now, the main event of WrestleMania night 1, to me, it has to be the triple threat. We're going Roman Reigns, we're going Seth freaking Rollins, and we have to add CM Punk into that mix. We saw the entire Rumble elimination. That was one of the best moments of that Rumble. And seeing the fact that Seth went, yeah, I'm not going to just stop you. I'm going to use both feet to drive Roman Reigns' face into the mat. It was magical. It was cinema, if you want to call it that. Go ahead. I think there's, like I keep saying, and it's later on in the year, in the month of April, we have 8 weeks to tell this story. I think that's enough to tell and weave these dynamics, and I think the main event of night 1 has to be Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins.
I don't think there's another place this could go. A lot of people are agreeing with you, Coby, including Mex, who's saying he can't see Jey Uso main eventing, and Sonny Mark says the same thing as well. I do agree with you. It should main event, but it probably won't. So the triple threat, I've been saying it for months that it should be a triple threat. I think Roman being in there makes sense, but I think Drew.
Yeah,
you were saying no, that's not true. Not true. As I was about to say, I was saying for months it was going to be a triple threat match between Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Drew McIntyre. Then in January, when we found out the Rock stuff, we thought was out of the window, I went, okay, let's chuck Roman Reigns in there and do a 4-way. But Drew McIntyre's been snubbed.
Kobe, can you see the sweat coming down Allison's forehead there? I think it shows that he's lying.
I've got receipts, guys. Just watch any of the Allison analyses. The receipts are there, but Drew should be involved, and he's absolutely snubbed if he is not. But so...
I had a joke I should have said, but I didn't.
Too bad. You missed the timing, son.
I was going to say Ben has more of a hard-on for Drew McIntyre than Soul.
Okay, moving on. So, what's going to open night 2?
So, this is important for the story. Is that we will see CM Punk on the SmackDown before WrestleMania go to Paul and say, I'm catching it in. Paul's like, oh, okay. So Paul goes to the TKO board and he sees The Rock and he's like, I have a favor to ask you. And it's like he whispers it and The Rock just goes, okay. And Paul's like shocked, like, okay. Yeah, he's like, okay. So the opener to night 2 will be a triple threat between CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns for entry into the main event of night 2 of WrestleMania.
Wait, what?
Yep.
Ooh.
CM Punk, Roman Reigns.
That's a big call.
CM Punk versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins.
Even more interesting.
With entry into the main event, and CM Punk will win.
I'm hooked now. I am hooked to see what your main event is going to be. Coby, what's opening night 2 for you?
I mean, there's not another place that this can go. If there's a way you can open night 2, if it's a feel good moment, it's a feel good moment. But night 2 opens with one of the Rumble winners. It's Jey Uso versus Gunther at this point. That I don't think it gets a main event slot, and I don't think it makes sense to put it in the middle of the card. I think it either has to start a show or end it, and I don't think it's going to end either. Wow, it ain't going to end night 2. I don't think it's ending night 1. I do think it's opening night 2. So Jey Uso Gunther World Heavyweight title.
Absolutely. I mean, I do agree with you, Coby. I do think either night 1 or night 2, that match is going to end up opening. Back to Soul's pick for a second. Mex is saying that would be exciting, while Sonny Mark says Daniel Bryan-esque. Absolutely. WrestleMania 30. And Bobby Petito simply says, wow. Very exciting, but what is going to be your match 2, Soul?
So match 2, you've had such a big thing. Do you continue with the madness and the craziness? Heck, why not? It's something Coby said. I've got a ladder match for the WWE tag titles between DIY, Profits, and Motor City Machine Gun. Sorry, no Pretty Deadly on my list, I'm afraid. No boys on this one. And I have the Street Profits winning and becoming a very big heel team for the WWE Tag Team division.
And to clarify, would this be a ladder match?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Ladder. You said ladder.
No, I just missed it. I was just so shocked the fact that Pretty Deadly aren't in it. They're so big in this storyline.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you were ready to faint there, Ben.
See, that's why you do a UK pay-per-view later down the year where they win. Yeah.
But they're so important in this storyline right now. They've been building
They're so important. But the UK, you could do it in the UK. Get them a yes boy.
You could do a singles match in the UK and a fatal.
They had it in the UK. They had it in the UK and got schlubbed on the go home show. On a go home show.
Oh, but that was amazing. That was the highlight of the entire weekend, in my opinion. Mex has got a good point. Pretty Deadly got babyface reactions this week, and Fernando does like that pick. But Coby, what's your pick?
Okay, and I alluded to the fact that I don't think Bianca gets the chamber win, because I do think we get a women's tag title defense. I think if we're gonna make sense with it, and we have Bayley doing Rhea Ripley facing Rhea Ripley, I think it's Belair and Naomi versus Liv and Raquel versus Io and Kairi. You can easily add Io and Kairi. You got the fact that Liv faced Io multiple times in the last few months, had great matches. The fact that Kairi should be ready for WrestleMania. I don't think they would put Kairi I don't think they would put Dakota in it. I think they would put Kairi and Io together for this match. So I do think it's a triple threat for the women's tag titles, and that's why I think the ladder match has to be a 4-way.
Another great pick. I mean, they need to find a way to get Io Sky on that card, because I think that's what a lot of people are struggling to do right now, is to find somewhere for her on the card. But that has to be the case.
If it's not world title match, because that is
or even
an option.
Even IC, because they've had some encounters too backstage. So I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting.
That'd be the one. Yeah, there's 2 ways Lyra gets on the card. It's Lyra and you, or Lyra or Becky. But I don't know which makes sense. I don't know where they go. They kind of, I hope it's not them just blowing the load after the chamber, and it's, oh yeah, we're gonna do Rhea and Io on a Raw, and that's it. I would love to see her in the title match. I don't know if it happens that way. And that's
fair enough.
I would love. That's the thing. The fact that there's history, I would love Rhea, Bayley, and Io Sky. I think that makes a lot of sense. That would be lovely, but I don't know if that happens.
Sonny Marks, there's multiple titles defended on the Saturday on both their cards. But what about you for match 3, Soul?
Match 3, I'm gonna do something kind of crazy. I'm gonna have Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest in an ODQ match. Obviously, we've seen the Priest chucking Drew out from the Rumble, and it's kind of like, harking back to Clash of the Castle Scotland, where Drew loses. I kind of want him to get a victory over. I want him to get a win over El Campeon and just beat him ruthlessly and become.
He's not El Campeon. He's not El Campeon anymore.
Just beat him ruthlessly, Drew. Come on, do it, man.
Yeah,
just do it.
That's the thing.
Do it for me.
Drew deserves better. Tweet it.
He
Drew
said no
deserves
DQ.
more.
He said no DQ too, not no.
Yeah, no DQ.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Just
There we are.
Just
Fixed it. There we are.
And,
What about
well,
you, Coby? What's your pick?
the fact of the matter is that this is the first time we can make history here. I think aside from I don't know if it needs us. I do have Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest facing each other. I do think Damian Priest eliminates Drew McIntyre in the chamber as well. And I think that's the fodder you can use to this fire. He eliminated him from the Rumble. He eliminated him from the chamber. Build something from there. And I think that, like I keep saying, we have 7 weeks after the chamber to build something. It is not hard to build a story. It doesn't have to be a 5-star cinema story, but it can be a logical story. And I think that's what we're going to get. Because keep in mind, the entire story is Damian wants to make it back to the world title. He's made it clear he wants Cody Rhodes. Now, and that also adds more fuel to this. Okay, we don't know who could win this, because it is the logical result that Drew McIntyre gets a win. He's put in all this work the last year, and he deserves a Mania win. Maybe it's not in the Mania match he deserves to be in, i.e. Ben Allison's point, but him beating Damian Priest, I don't think would be mad. We could be mad at that. But Damian Priest getting the win could solidify him if Cody Rhodes turns heel. And then your next face opponent for Cody could be Damian Priest. There's a lot more unpredictability if this match happens. And I think that also makes me interested in it a lot more.
I'd be fuming. Absolutely fuming if Drew McIntyre, after being the MVP this year when it comes to storytelling in the company, not only gets a match with very little story, but then loses that match. Match 3 on night 2, I would be fuming. I agree with Bobby Petito. Drew McIntyre deserves better. Soul, what's your match for?
Okay, quite proud of the stipulation. Like, if Triple H does say this, I'm coming at him for copyright infringement. I have the Wyatt 6 plus Alexa Bliss versus the Judgment Day in a Vegas Strip street fight. Going to be pure chaos. I think also Liv and Raquel will be the women's tag team champions, so I haven't got space for them on the card, but at least the champions showcased. I think it'll be a very close fight. Even if you do want to as well, you could have maybe a possible challengers for the the challengers for the women's tag titles maybe come in and appear and do a little interruption spot, or you could set up Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross in their new demonic forms going after the tag titles as well, which could be interesting. But also as well, I feel like Wyatt 6 need to be on WrestleMania because they're a pre-order bonus for the video game. They've been given a lot of good presentation when they were active, and now they've just gone. It really seems to me that WWE in this current point or time, maybe even just modern, like the modern wrestling landscape, can't do horror or spooky stuff anymore. It always fizzles out. Maybe it's because we know the backstage things of everything, but yeah, I would love to see this Vegas Strip street fight copyright infringement of Soul here.
Fair enough. I mean, I predicted this match a few months ago.
Though.
Yeah.
So who's on Team Judgment Day? Because Wyatt 6 is 4 guys and 2. Wyatt 6 is 4 guys, 1 with Nikki Cross and then Alexa. So Judgment Day only has Finn, Dom, and Carlito. So you need 1 more with Judgment Day.
So obviously,
or just 1 less of the Wyatt 6.
Yeah, even if say Dallas, if Bo Dallas,
I guess specify that.
Yeah, so like obviously you can match it out, but like if people are injured or people want, you just take out whoever it is and keep it to the group. You don't supplement anyone, in my personal opinion.
Yeah. I predict that exact match a couple of months ago. Not in the street fight that you said, but now as time goes on, I think maybe less of a chance.
Vegas
but hopefully,
street fight. Vegas Strip
street fight. I'll add that now. But Coby, what's your pick?
So this was already said earlier. Logan Paul versus AJ Styles. I think the tough part is, and we know he's going to get a high profile match. I just don't know where it is. He's not facing CM Punk. He's not facing Seth Rollins. He's not facing a lot of the guys on Raw. And unless it's literally Sammy and Logan Paul, which is an option if you really have to, then you could use the cross element. Then you could just have it be Logan Paul and Sami Zayn. That's something I came up with on the fly. I'm not sticking with that because that messes up my card. But it's Logan Paul and AJ Styles. I think that's the move. You get AJ Styles on the card because he deserves it, because he's AJ Styles. And Logan Paul's going to get on that card because he's Logan Paul. I think that this makes sense. It's kind of not a nothing match on night 2, but it would certainly deliver. It would be a match that goes, oh yeah, this is just going to be a really fun match because we know both of them are really good. And AJ Styles still can deliver. And I think it works. I think it works.
Absolutely would be fun. What about you, Soul, for match number 5?
Match number 5 is one that's said before. It's Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton. I've got enough Falls Count Anywhere match. Just let them brawl around the arena, go at it, go home, and have a good old fun brawl.
That would be very interesting indeed, and absolutely a banger. And I'll correct the stipulation in just a second. But what about you, Coby, for match number 5?
Putting no holds barred. Sorry, that killed me. Right now, I like, of course, it was already mentioned, and I think it has to be. And we sat here, and I said, I've said for months, we got to put them on the card, and we got to put them in the position. Like Solo has had a near career defining year because he's been given the ball and he's ran with it. Solo's done his job, and he's done his job well. I think it's Solo and Jacob Fatu, and of course we don't know the difference between the stipulations because there's tribal combat and bloodline rules. I think they're going to go bloodline rules because then it's like, okay, well, which members of the bloodline are going to interfere this time? Because you got Guerrillas of Destiny, and I think the surprise could be is Jimmy Uso potentially siding with Solo Sikoa, his little brother. I think that's something you could play with at WrestleMania. If it's a moment, I do think Jacob needs the win, though, because you are establishing him as a monster, as a beast, as someone who's going to run rampant in this company. But I do think a little nugget of a surprise of Jimmy Uso siding, kind of helping Solo, would be enjoyable.
No doubt about it. What about you, Soul, for your co-main on night 2?
Co-main event is Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair for the WWE Women's title. I think they'll have a very, very good match. Also a very key defining moment for Tiffany Stratton as well. And I hope they cement that she is facing this. And I would have Tiffany win it. Be a big moment for her. You don't need to give the belt to Charlotte Flair. Honestly, I would do her and Becky for the US title down the line, personally, to get that belt more of a showcase of these big stars with it. So that would be my plan.
I really think that could well be where that match goes as well. So I definitely agree with that one. But what about you, Coby? Do you also agree?
Cody Rhodes is semi-main. No, he's not. It's Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton. That's the semi-main event. I think that's the thing. That's where Bayley and Io went last year, and that was the Rumble winner. I think it makes sense. I guess it's almost arguably the bigger women's match, but we don't know the other one. And I do think it goes there. To me, my gut tells me Charlotte wins, though. My only hope is that Tiffany defeats her this year. That's the thing that I have to sit here and go. Tiffany has to get her win back this year, not in 2 years like Rhea Ripley. She needs to get it because there's already a lot of Tiffany Stratton's not overrated, but there's a lot of flack she's getting since winning that title, and you can't let that stock dip that much more.
You are absolutely right on that one, Coby. DCX Warlord says Tiffany submits Charlotte with a figure 8, and Bobby Petito is laughing at the Cody line. But main event time. So, what's your main event for night 2?
Are you ready for the story, lads? Are you strapped in? Are you ready? Let's go back to Elimination Chamber. Cody and Rock have their segment. Cody says, "I don't want to be your champion. I am their champion. I am happy in that role." Rock's annoyed and he just walks away. Later on, main event, Cena wins the Elimination Chamber. Rock comes out and just congratulates him. It's weird, it's tense, but things go on. We see more segments of, Rock coming out and talking to Cena and talking to Rhodes, and it's kind of this tense thing of like, is he trying to whisper to Cena or whisper to Rhodes? It's really, really tense. So the match goes on. So it's Cody Rhodes, John Cena, and CM Punk who won the entry at the main event. Well, entry to the main event from the start of this night. Things are going on. Things are going on. Cena's getting crossroad. Punk is GTSing. Anaconda Vices. It's all chaos, right? And Cena gets taken out on the side by a Anaconda Vice. He's like passed out, and Punk is just stamping on him, and Punk tries to rolls into the ring, and then Cody Rhodes does those crossroads, and he's about to go for the cover, and then you hear "If You Smell," and The Rock comes out with a chair, just walks down, throws in the chair. Cody picks up, and he goes, he throws it down. He's like, "Nah, I'm not doing this. I'm not being your plan A." The call back to the past. The Rock just goes, "Well, there's always a plan B." CM Punk batters Cody Rhodes from the back, down, battering, throws the chair out. Rock gets his ref in. 1, 2, 3. CM Punk, or Corporate Man Punk, is the new WWE champion, aligning himself with The Rock. He gets his main event. He lost at the Chamber. He lost at the Rumble. He wants that main event. He wants the money. He wants the payday. So he signs a deal with the devil for him, his pocket, gets his main event, gets his championship, and gets the payday.
That would actually genuinely be incredible. I would love to see that. At the same time, I also think CM Punk against a Homelander Cody Rhodes would be the perfect Billy Butcher as well. But either way you'd go, that would be a shock to see CM Punk and Rock on the same page. But it could also make enough sense too. If you can't beat them, join them. And Punk said it when he first came back to the company. He's not here to make friends. He's here to make money and to win championships. So he would be backing that up. It would make a lot of sense. Coby, what is your main event?
I do think there's a lot of merit to what Soul said. My only kind of side note would be that the fact that we know The Rock and his friend Brian Gewirtz likes the fact that night 1 main event affects the night 2 main event. So I think there's a lot more fodder that 3-way of winner gets added to the next main event would make more sense at the main event of Saturday. But right now, I mean, sticking to the card I've laid up, it's just Cody Rhodes and John Cena. We've already kind of said it. There's so many dynamics and this is so many layers. And now we have The Rock added into this. There's so many layers you can work with. You have Cody Rhodes, who's kind of developing like a smugness. And he's like, this is what I'm willing to do to keep this championship. He's losing his friends. He's the champion crumbling under pressure, who's hurt, who's damaged, who's not 100%. You have John Cena, who said it at the press conference. I think I deserve to be in the chamber because of my service for the company, and it's best for business if I main event WrestleMania. I think the line is in the sand for John Cena to make it, but John Cena's shown not true colors, but John Cena's shown a lot more layers to his character compared to what we've seen in years. Then we got the Rock dynamic, and there's so much they can work with. Like I keep saying, we got 7 weeks to play with this. I think this is the biggest match you can possibly make outside of a triple threat with someone else. I think the main event is CM Punk and Cody, or not CM Punk, Cody Rhodes and John Cena. For the WWE
I
champion.
would love it. And to be clear, right, I do actually want to really quickly make this clear. I would love to see Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. And I'd also love what you said as well, so Cody, Cena, Punk. I just don't think it's happening. I think Cena's fans' hearts are going to be broken and they're going to build him back up throughout the year. And I think that's what the story's going to be.
But I think
really
that's what makes sense. If Cody Rhodes turns heel against arguably one of the biggest faces of the industry, there's what heartbreak. How does that not result in heartbreak?
Mm-hmm. It would. It'd make a lot of sense. I just don't think it's what they're doing. If I was them, I'd actually do the triple threat probably after Soul said it. But even I'd either do the triple threat or do Cody versus Cena. Right now. We'll tell you my predictions later this week on the Wrestling Public
YouTube
your gut,
channel. But your gut is
but
wrong.
It's neither one of those my pick for the main event, but both of those make a lot of sense, and I'd love to see them. But that does bring us, guys, to the end of
Just
the
wait until
video.
Chamber and then do your predictions.
No, because the point is, I'll be really wrong next week, and then I can do another video,
You are
and then I can be
already.
even wrong next week again. 2
Well,
videos.
You want to set yourself up set yourself up for failure. Go ahead.
I've never been afraid to do that. Yeah, miss every shot you don't take, but I do like both of your cards, guys. Just like my card, I think we're probably going to get a lot wrong, but it was a really, really fun video, no doubt about it. Fernando loves the main events, and DCX Warlord says today is the 134th day of Christian Cage's AEW World Heavyweight Championship reign. Everyone's favorite father figure. Thank you to Soul. Thank you to Coby for joining me here today, and shout out to everybody in the comments. And you, Fernando, as well. DCX Warlord says, we forgot Pretty Deadly. Coby didn't.
No, Soul
Coby
did.
gave them the respect they deserved. But we will see you guys same time, same place tomorrow for Mailbag Monday. See you then. Peace.